Well, evening, fellow zombies. Are we alive yet? Are we awake yet? Are we emotionally screwed up and sleep deprived? Or are we sleep screwed up and or emotionally screwed up and sleep deprived? I don't know how that works these days anymore. Both. Okay, this is your zombie. We were John C. of Roseman, California. Also doing the diary of a griever named John Weaver, which is me. Right now it's about 11:45 at night, coming up on the 14 minutes before the hour. It's still November 1st, 2024 for a Friday, and I'm still buried alive with schoolwork. What else is new? This is the Weaver John C. of Roseman, California. Oh, enough of the damn introduction there, shit. Okay, so my dog's trying to settle down, trying to sleep. Thank God. Gives me some time to broadcast, but also gives me time to sleep if I can. What's that anymore? I don't know what that is anymore. I lost track of it. But anyway, uh, emotional things happening. Yes, it falls under the diary, and trying to get past that. So for right now, I'm trying to deal. We're getting closer and closer to the election time, and it's getting more and more apparent that people start considering to throw in the ballots at the last second if they have to, probably Monday, because I'm not quite sure if Tuesday is going to be able to handle it. But if it does, if it's in the mail and it's postmarked, then they'll get a chance for their voting to be processed. So that's a word of warning for those who are watching this video this morning or whatever time zone you got. Appointment happening tomorrow regarding situations like this, but not who I have to educate, elucidate, and basically tell them who they're going to have to vote for. Because at this point, boys and girls, it's not my it's not my job to educate people on this kind of situation. Oh no, we don't educate them on this kind of situation. We educate them on other situations. Okay, I got too much junk in my cellar, don't I? Somewhere in this mess I've got here is ballot initiatives. Usually this thing right here and this thing right here that I got. Are these wonderful? Yeah, I still kept them for collection, but they'll be needed one way or another. Prior to the mailing and the information I still have, I got it over here, buried alive like the worm it is. But the rest of the stuff has already been taken care of, so I don't have to worry about that, right? Except for the rest of my stuff here. Most of it's already gone. I already taken care of my little situation over there, but that information is highly necessary because we are getting close to the time where everybody right now is having a conniption fit of who they want to vote for and who they want to convince you to vote for and what you're going to vote for. And if you don't vote for them, they'll drive you crazy. And if you've already voted for them, guess what, boys and girls? You're still on a mailing list somewhere. If they still got your phone number, you're going to be constantly you're going to be bombarded. I am. Mail and texting. I'm like, I have to block numbers left and right wherever they comment from. It's like all over the country. Oh, he's a Democrat. Let's do this one. He's not a Republican. And if I happen to say anything about this on the groups I associate with on social media, such as Facebook, I haven't said anything about that one, I'm in trouble because they're like, oh, he's a liberal. Do you eat children and pets too? Are you a garbage person? Are you evil? We must exorcise the liberalism out of you. By the holy word of a Trumplicant, we will banish you to another Netherland. Begone away from our country. This is a Christian nationalist place. By me. First Amendment right gives me the right to flip you off and to tell you my dissent. But apparently, people don't want that. They still want to argue about things. Speaking of which, you ever seen independents go after each other? I mean, with a full-hearted glee. There's some of the other independents I'm coming across left and right. I mean, I know there's a lot of them on both sides. Still trying to push issues, still trying to push personalities and agendas left and right. One of them had been there for, okay, 20, within the past span of this century starting off, shall we say, that they kicked off. And they wanted to show people what kind of a new brand of independent thinking media that they are. Turns out they're like every other corporate media out there, except probably without the corporation funding them. They're just as opinionated and they think they know better. Coming from a guy who's seen too much of it. Yeah, I've seen I'd seen the older kind a long time ago, growing up. I watched the McLaughlin group of the conservatives. I'd watched Meet the Press, Face the Nation. I also had seen, what was it? It was David Brinkley a long time ago. And I'd seen talk shows growing up as well. When you have when you have summers and you haven't got any summer school, this is the kind of crap that you watch all the time. So I'd watch that stuff. Now George Stephanopoulos for the past 20 or 30 years. 30 years or more than that. And he's still getting there. I don't know if they're going to be replacing him with someone else, but I hope not. He's still good. But the others are coming up, and they're still trying to be almost just as aggressive, but not as much. Passive aggressive sometimes. But when it comes down for the independents, they want to show how progressive they want. They want to show their meat. They want to show their teeth. They want to show the blood in their gums over here, saying, "Arr, I'll tear you apart with all those things I got to say about you, about your ideas, ideologies, and everything else you're meaning." Arr. I'm like, give me a break. Toothless. Well, look at you. You got to be toothless yourself. Yeah, I've lost a lot of teeth. I have. I don't smile as much at you. And I don't laugh because, oh, you guys are just not humorless enough. You guys try to sound like you're know-it-alls and throw out the hyperboles all the time. I'm highly educated. I got degrees in this and journalism and in this. Okay, fine, you got your degrees in college, and I'm a struggling guy, still trying to struggle for the first rung, even though I'm a 58-year-old fort. And a long time ago, and I'll say it again on my lot of videos here, I screwed up in school a lot. I wasn't a class clown. I just wasn't getting it all the time. They kept calling me special. Maybe I wasn't special. Maybe I was just too under the average that, bypass old Johnny Boy here. Johnny Boy's still struggling, but that's all he does. Ever considered that I would probably be screwed up or mentally deficient? One time in my life, probably about the age of 10 or 11 o'clock, 10 or 11 years old, I had an uncle come out and did psychological testing on me. He had psychological training. Yeah, he said I was above average. Well, how's that? Some of the tests he was asking me, which I barely remember right now except for a drawing test, and I was a lousy artist. But he wanted me to make up a story about this one? Okay, so I made up a story about a character. I lived in my head all the time. I lived in Fantasyland. I read books about this stuff. I was way out there. I was also trying to read stuff about science. And I'm also listening about politics and about history. But did it ever motivate me to be anything but above average or below average? I don't know. I could tell you a book and read all about the damn book and give you a book report. Verbally. What do you want? Page by page, piece by piece? Okay, fine. There were certain things about books I read all over again that fascinated the crap out of me. Tell me something about Project Mercury. I got in a book for Christmas as a kid, Project Mercury. A lot of interesting words when I was reading that book. These days it's like old memories. Old technology back in the 60s that they were dealing with. Trying to get through John F. Kennedy's dream of trying to land a man on the moon for political reasons. And he inspired an entire nation under a Cold War, under the threat of nuclear weapons, to put a man into space, put a group of people in space, send them over to the moon, land on the thing, collect a few rocks, make a political statement, and haul ass back to Earth while making something about the used equipment of Apollo spacecraft. Fuselages turned into a space station, and then you had a transportation system. The remaining Apollo programs just to put up a crew here, crew there, last crew up there. And then see it years later come down in pieces of wreckage. It was called Skylab. And then they actually were doing the International Space Station. They were trying to get the space transportation system running. Basically a space shuttle going up and down. A little bit of a space lab so they could figure out a few things. Get a space lab and their space shuttle running until they got a space station with a lab. Then they could do their lab experiments and invite countries over to say, hey, look at our Space Country Club. Pretty shortly that damn thing is going to be coming down. But now we're dependent upon the commercial. Yeah, learn all these things, experiencing all these things as an adult at this point, seeing how politics have changed things over the past lifetime of mine. How debating in a format for one person or a group of people can change throughout the decades into constant automatic backstabbing. And since the invention of social media and communications through the internet, it has become the primary means of attack. So now you got these people constantly attacking each other for political points. We're one screwed up country. No. We're one screwed up world. That's what we are. I swear, if we actually have any intelligent life form out there trying to figure the crap out of us, they're not within earshot of us. If they were, they'd run and hide. I hope they would. There's no way in hell we'd be able to survive on this damn planet any longer because we don't know how to do that to ourselves. We're already screwed up the climate right now, so we're going to be dealing with that for the next 100 years or more. And we're really going to be either drowning, baking, frying, or what? Or radiating by radiation by solar or by our own nuclear weapons. That's what I'm counting on. And I won't be alive during that time. And if I will be, I'll be probably a Borg at that point. Part machine, maybe a little bit of humanity left. If the brain still survives. Everything else they'll be replacing, and I'll be cursing at mankind, medical science, and science period for that one. Thank you very much for turning me into a piece of crap. So it'll be John Cyborg Weaver. How about that one? Not on my watch, it doesn't. So, in dealing with political sciences we have, which is way different than the regular sciences we have, and I don't know why they call it a science. I've never figured it out why they call it a science in the first place. Politics, okay, I can understand that, but science? There's no science in this damn thing. Science is constantly reviewing itself, re-examining itself, challenging the laws and rules we live by, concepts we have, constant questions and answers, challenging anything and everything we got. But do we do that for politics? No, we use politics as an excuse to keep attacking people. Why? Because it's fun. We don't know anything better. We agreed to be governed by others by a consent. But when it comes down for tearing each other apart, oh, screw the consent. We'll just do it anyway. Case in point, you got a group out there has been out there, as I said before, for about 20 years, some odd years, 20, 25 years. Established because they're seeing all these things happening and they wanted to be more progressive. And people thought they were hip and slick. And as I said before, they're turning out to be They're turning out to be like everybody else. I almost meant to say geriatric, but not quite. Not quite. A geriatric in thinking, though, that's the problem. I'm not a young guy. I'm an old fart. I'd say things old fart ways. I'm saying how things are being challenged left and right. And the independents are getting tired of the corporate scraps. They're going after each other left and right. They're going after people trying to pretend that they're pastors, or if they are pastors, they got to be tearing these guys apart left and right because they got nothing else politically to do. We're getting so close to the election time of Tuesday that everything's so oversaturated. Now they got to go for other people that get out radical left and right. Well, of course, you can turn out to be two superstars in the independent media organization over there, and then have your disagreements, your major fighting on both sides of a topic that may or may not be needed more descriptions on it. Okay, you guys had a problem concerning about the term fascism, and you have a problem concerning about one guy probably being a fascist without being a fascist, but he's threatening to be a fascist and a dictator. Made a joke about it, and people are going insane. And because of his actions a long time ago, and his supposed mental instabilities happening right now, I thought this guy is getting older and older, so he is going to be mentally unstable. I've seen it happen so many times with older folks at home I lived with. And not to mention, I'm seeing how a dog can go into geriatric as well. Right before my very eyes. So don't tell me about getting old and about getting insane at this point. I've seen other people who try to keep their minds clear enough while they're that old, and their heart's almost pure enough. We got a dedicated former president that way. It's geriatric. But even losing the love of his life, I know he's hurting, he's mourning, and my heart goes out to him. Walked the same path I do, and he's already seen the same path probably many times in his life, and he still hates it. So I feel for the guy. Unless you walked it, unless you've been broken by it, you would understand. But I do understand about piranhas going after each other. And I'm looking at the independents as piranhas. And they're having a feeding fest. They're having a love fest over this damn thing. So you have a major disagreement, you have a major wig out on the damn program. Does it mean that you're going out or not? If it's showing up on a consistent basis over here, then maybe there should have been a clarification coming from the higher-ups, unless they are the higher-ups. And if they happen to start losing audience members, well, then they got to do their own marketing on this one. They got to do their own polls. What's going on? Look at their own work and look at their own behaviors to see whether or not if they're actually going to be what they appear to be. Because the other guys are going after them left and right. It's just pure crazy. And this is the crap I watch, other than the corporate media going after each other left and right. And then as I said before, the piranhas are going after the corporate media left and right on that one. But they go after anybody and everybody. Case in point, there's one particular guy who keeps pulling out a red phone. It's like the bat phone. Bat phone to Jesus. And now we're dealing with this religious nutjob over here claim he works for God. And now this guy posted on several things out there on the internet, which many of them are. They actually do have origins. But you have a group who's constantly looking for people like this to exploit and go crazy over. So the independents will have something to chew on, something to eat. You'll have the ministers out there trying to tell you what God thinks, what God should be, and you should be cowering in fear because these preachers and pastors and reverends and God knows what else they call themselves are telling you to do so. Followed by the politicians saying, see this person over here. Yeah, I see, I heard. And you're not moving me. You're not even giving me enough indigestion to go let my bowels move. No, I'll just have my own diet do that for myself. Let's just still have enough toilet paper to clean that up. But not the mess I keep hearing left and right coming out of other people's mouths. And it's not going to stop until past election day, and it's still going to kick up a while. Because now the process begins of certifying, counting all the ballots, making sure that the counts are accurate, and then finally certified in January. And we've already had on social media hints, innuendos, threats, whether or not we're going to have another January 6th situation. As if one wasn't bad enough already. So it's going to be a long 2 months. November, the election, then we got to survive that, then we got to survive December, and then the beginning of January. Isn't that going to be fun? Meanwhile, class will be ending in December. I'll get a month off and head back into class next January. I got to start going through the paperwork to see what else is out there. I got to start it this week. All right, guys. We'll see what happens.